The number of people who do it every week is greater than the number of people who exercise. The number of people who do it every day is greater than the number of people who drive. In fact, 9 out of 10 of us say that we do it on a regular basis, and 3 out of 4 of us say that we do it daily. What is it? It's praying. Long, long ago, there was a group of monks known as the Acomite who believed in prayer so much that they prayed non-stop for more than 700 years. You see, they prayed in a kind of relay fashion. A group of monks from their order would go into their sanctuary and pray for a certain number of hours. And then another group of monks would go in and take their place and continue praying. And they did that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they did that all the way from the 5th century up through the 12th century. Or in a similar way, there is a group of nuns who've been praying in a monastery in Wisconsin, non-stop like that, ever since they started on August 1st, 1878. Back during World War II, General George Patton's Third Army was making great advances against the Nazis until days of torrential rain brought their advances to a virtual standstill. And so on December 14, 1944, General Patton summoned the top chaplain and ordered him to write a prayer asking God to stop the rain. When the skies cleared unexpectedly the following day, General Patton again summoned that chaplain, this time to present him with the coveted Bronze Star Medal in recognition of the apparent effectiveness of his prayer. When we read the Bible, we find great encouragement to pray. In the Gospel of John, Jesus says, "If in my name you ask for anything, I will do it. And if you ask the Father for anything in my name, he will give it to you." In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says, "If you have faith and do not doubt, even if you say to this mountain, be taken up and cast into the sea, it will be done." Whatever you ask for in prayer through faith, you will receive. Or in the Gospel of Luke, Jesus says, "Ask and you will receive. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened. For everyone who asks receives, and everyone who seeks finds, and for everyone who knocks, the door will be opened." And then here in this passage that we just listened to from the letter of James, we're told the prayer of faith will save the sick, and the Lord will raise them up. The prayer of the righteous is powerful and effective. And in all likelihood, from experiences in our own lives and from the lives of people we know that prayer is powerful. We know that through prayer, amazing acts of healing have come about. We know that through prayer, awesome and wonderful things have happened in the world and in people's lives. But, and I imagine many of you already know what that but is. And what about when people protected from tornadoes and hurricanes, and those violent forces of nature still come and devastate whole towns. But what about when we pray for the sick and the injured, and they don't get better? And sometimes they even die. How are we supposed to make sense of that? How are we supposed to make sense of the fact that prayer sometimes seems to work, but at other times it doesn't? Quite often we try our best to come up with answers to those questions. Maybe we tell ourselves, maybe the problem is that in the Bible it says that we will receive anything we ask in Jesus' name. And so maybe we tell ourselves, maybe the reason some of our prayers aren't answered is because they're not in Jesus' name. That is, maybe the reason some of our prayers aren't answered is because our prayers don't really match up with what Jesus wants, that they simply match up with what we want. But then again, when we pray for a loved one or a dear friend who has some terrible illness, when we pray for them to be healed, wouldn't a prayer like that certainly be in Jesus' name? Wouldn't a prayer for healing someone who is in trouble or sick, wouldn't a prayer like that certainly be consistent with what Jesus would want to have happen? But for some unknown, mysterious reasons, at times those prayers aren't answered. Or at least they're not answered in the ways that we might want them to be answered. And so again, in search of some explanation, we tell ourselves that, well, maybe the problem is that we don't have enough faith. Or maybe the person we're praying for doesn't have enough faith. Or like it says here in this passage,